Are you a small business owner that's looking to hire the right people to grow your business? In my conversation today with Corey Harlock, principal consultant of KeyHire based in Houston, Texas, Corey dives into some of the key aspects you need to understand as a small business owner to make sure you have the right people in place. Let's get started. I'm Jeremy Williams, owner of Red Hawk Coaching and the host of the Survive Scale Soar podcast. Welcome back to the Survive Scale Soar YouTube channel, where we make videos for small business owners just like you that are passionate about building successful businesses and living great lives. Let's jump into my conversation with Corey Harlock, principal consultant of KeyHire based right here in Houston, Texas. And he's going to share with you effective talent planning and acquisition for small business owners. Honored to have on the show Corey Harlock. He's a principal consultant at KeyHire. And Corey, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Corey, you're a man that understands the importance of hiring talent and building out teams. Give me a little background in how you got started in this business.
Yeah, so the 30,000 foot views. My first life, I was in hospitality for years and years and years. When I decided to get out of hospitality, I thought recruiting was in my set of skills, my particular set of skills. So I got into agency recruiting, and I did it for a number of years, and that was up in Canada. I'll be speaking Canadian throughout this whole conversation, if you're okay with that.
We'll get a translator, but I think
you might need subtitles. You'll need some subtitles down there. So I did it and had a good deal of success and got in with an agency and partnered with the owner of that agency, and we did some cool stuff, but I never really liked that pay to play model. And then when we moved here from Calgary down to Houston, because of my wife, she was in oil and gas at the time. So I kind of closed the door on my boutique agency I had up in Canada, came down here and joined another agency. But in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, there's got to be a different way to do this. And being a scrappy bootstrapping entrepreneur myself, I wanted to come up with a resource for small business owners, something that was dialed into small business owners. And so through, I'm a Vistage member, and through the people at Vistage and the people in my group and friends and family and all that good stuff, we built out KeyHire with kind of the vision to serve small business owners, but also find a pricing model that was fair and equitable for both sides, and was a partnership. We really wanted to make sure we were partnering with them and providing them more than they needed, because these are our leaders of tomorrow. These are our Fortune 500s of tomorrow. And there's just really a glut there in terms of what's available to these hardworking people that are sacrificing time with their family. They're sacrificing, seeing their kids' sporting events, their long weekends, their holidays. And it feels like, sometimes they just don't have enough resources to get over the hump. They're kind of left to, the strong will survive. We want to kind of level the playing field for them a little bit.
So I know a big target for you is small business owners between 5 and 25 million. And those are listening to the show today.
Yep.
What is typically the first thing that triggers someone and their organization to say, you know what, we need to go out and connect with somebody like KeyHire? What's that initial trigger?
So the research we've done, we've found there are a few. And so what we now understand is small business owner is an umbrella term. And we've gone in and kind of identified 5 what we call our key owner stages within that small business. And so the triggers could be different. And if you want, I can just kind of give you the 30,000 foot overview of what those key owner stages and see if they resonate with any of the listeners. But so we're not agency. We don't compete with all that stuff. What we do is work with small business owners who are, we compete against the DIY business owner who's trying to do their own hiring. So the first kind of stage we've identified is that overwhelmed business owner, right? This is like, short and sweet. The wheels have fallen off the machine, right? They've hired their friends, they've hired their relatives, they've hired the neighbors of their relatives, and they're good people doing the best job they can, and they become a victim of their own success, right? The business has outgrown the ability of the people in it, and everyone's kind of trying to do everything, and their only input is time.
Okay.
So they're like, all we can do is work longer and harder to try to grow this thing, right? So, they're that overwhelmed business owner where they're probably most of their leaders and their respective departments are underqualified or overwhelmed, or the business is bigger than what they can do. Then the next stage we have is that unsure business owner. So these are like wobbly wheels. So they might have know they have a problem in their business. Like, why isn't operations delivering the way they used to, but they can't put their finger on it, right? They're still like, that person is a long-term employee. They used to be doing great, and I don't understand what's happening. So they kind of have questions, and they want to know, what's going on with my people? What has gone so wrong here? And then the third stage is what we call curious. And these are the business owners where, you might have a flat tire. This is where they've identified a problem and they're curious about it. So they might say, that my director of sales used to be doing great. They're not doing great. I know where my problem is here. I don't know if they're the right person to take me where I want to go. I'm curious. I want to investigate that. I'd like to have someone come out from the inside and maybe give me their point of view or an assessment or what's happening there. And then the next stage we have is the growing company. So these are the people that they have good people in place, they're growing, and we just need to upgrade that leadership, and they're aware of it. Right now, they have a sense of awareness. They know what good looks like, and they're saying, okay, my director of ops is crushing it. My director of sales is struggling. Let's go in and find some help for this director of sales, or hire someone above them, or upgrade that role, or get them the support they need. Then the fifth stage, they've moved right into strategic. They know what they need. Just go out and fill the holes for me. We need to keep rocking and rolling. We have a handle on exactly what we need now. We just need someone tactically to fill in the holes as we're growing. So those are kind of if you look in the wheel reference, we go from the wheels have fallen off to the wobbly wheel to the flat tire to the upgrading the wheels, right? We're putting low profiles on the machine now when we're in the growing stage. And then once we get to strategic, we're like adding wheels to the machine because the machine's getting bigger and going faster.
Yeah, with the flat tires or the kind of the wobbly wheels, have you found that sometimes they have the people, maybe they're just on the wrong seat on the bus?
That can happen, but generally as the business grows, and I always preface this, these are good people doing great, the best work they can. But there's this, there comes a point when as a business grows where the business will eventually outgrow at least some, if not all, of the experience of the people in that business. And that's that hard stop where owners really start feeling it. They start having questions about what's going on. Why aren't we delivering? Well, you're running a $10 million business on a $5 million process, right? And that process is getting ready to bust and it just can't handle it. And no fault of the individuals in the business, but they don't have the capacity or the experience to look beyond where they are into the future and build out the processes and procedures that are required for that business to grow. So when we come in, we often say, we're not hiring someone to run your $10 million a year business. We're hiring someone to run your $50 million a year business, currently doing 10. And when you make that shift, right, that's what we do essentially in a nutshell is we build your organization like on paper and with people to facilitate that growth. And that's kind of where we come in. So yeah, sometimes there is someone sitting in a seat and you say, yes, that person is right there, ready to go. They have great ideas. They have the experience we need. In our experience, oftentimes when a business owner has gone out and hired that big ticket person, maybe they failed to do the pre-work and they got someone who looked great, and then they're disappointed because they tried to hire one person to solve all their problems, right? And you got to eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? It's not instant relief, it's gradual relief. So I think that's true, that there could be people in the organization who might be in the wrong seat or might not they might not have enough responsibility. But oftentimes it's just people are overwhelmed and we need to get them some help.
What type of mindset, because a lot of this falls back on the leader, right? The
Right,
leader of the
100%.
organization. What type of mindset should a leader have to begin to recognize some of these things happening within their organization?
That's a great question. And the word and what I look for in a leader when I'm going to work with them is one word I look for, and it's humility. They have to be able to pull back and say, man, I know my business inside and out. I get it. And they do, because they're passionate about what they do. I used to golf. I'm an aspiring golfer. I have young kids. So my Uber shift starts after my work shift, shuttling kids all over town. But I've hit tens of thousands of golf balls. It doesn't mean I can be a golf instructor, right? I've hit tens of thousands of golf balls, but I've hit them all wrong. And these business owners have started these businesses because they have a passion, and hiring is a unintended consequence of starting that business, and they've hired. But just because they've hired a lot of people doesn't mean they're great at it. It means they've hired people, just like I've hit golf balls. And so having a business owner that can understand what an amazing leader with capacity looks like, and having the humility and I say this with the caveat, that person has to earn the trust and respect of the owner, right? It's not day one, take my business and do what you want with it. It's a partnership, and they have to go through that kind of those relationship stages as they go. But working towards having the humility to step back and say, man, this person understands how to run a manufacturing facility better than I do. So I'm going to let them do what they do, because at the end of the day, I get to work less. My business has more capacity, and we're all going to be better served by that. We're all going to be in a better position to take care of ourselves and our families. That's what it takes, for someone to be able to step back and say, let's see what this individual can bring to the table. And if they have the jam I need, turn them loose and let them do what they do.
So what I'm hearing is a leader that's got a big ego and maybe lacks humility. They're going to be the ones that find themselves struggling with hiring and maintaining that talent.
That could be the case, unless you can crack that nut, right? And I've seen that happen. It's not the majority, right? But it has happened. But yeah, I mean, if you want to hire people with amazing experience that come from bigger companies that understand how to build capacity into your business, and tell them how to do save your money, right? Because you're not going to be happy and they're not going to be happy, and that's a recipe for a short-term relationship. When it comes to bringing in talent, we deal in probabilities. Our KeyHire's job is to build out the process and what we call our action plan to maximize the probability of a successful relationship. And in any relationship to be successful long-term, both sides there has to be mutual respect, and there has to be give and take. And hiring ultra talented people and saying, hey, I love your experience, now do it my way, kind of defeats the purpose of bringing in that talent.
Yeah, there's a big issue where you got to trust one another, and I heard you say that earlier. Um,
Trust is huge. I think trust is the overriding ingredient, and then humility would be 1B.
so as a consultant with your company, is it sometimes do you find yourself being that person? Sometimes we're stuck in the forest, right? We can't see outside of the forest, and you're coming in at 30,000 feet, right? Is it your job as a consultant sometimes to help that leader see the potential opportunities of bringing in talent and maybe stepping back and allowing some of that talent to flourish?
Yeah, 100%. That's a big part of what we do. So when we come in, we spend a lot of time up front getting, we like to say we want to understand the business almost as well as the owner does. And so we want to understand their people. We want to talk to people. We want to hear what's going on, because it helps us put the puzzle together. And yeah, we've recommended shifting seats, or you might have a problem here. You might have a constraint here. It could be any number of things. And it's hard for an owner who's given blood, sweat, and tears building their business, and they've hired people who have been great employees and done their best. And I say this all the time: the hardest decision a small business owner will ever make, bar none, is going to that employee that's been with them for 5-10 years and given them everything they've had, and saying, man, you have been a loyal and good soldier for me, and thank you for getting me here, but I don't think you can get me there, and having to have that conversation. So it's tough for them, and I get that. I understand that. And it's also tough for them to bring someone in over that person who they have a lot of loyalty to. So that's kind of always the first step. It's respecting those relationships, respecting the people, the work. I'm respect for the employer and the employee is something that we balance all the time. This whole, well, we'll just hire them. If they don't work out, we'll just fire them and hire someone else. That doesn't work for us, the way we do things, right? We're dealing with people who have marriages and mortgages and kids in school and stuff going on. And
It's a huge cost to the business as well.
yeah, for sure. And that gets factored in, but we got to look at the human side too, right? Like we got people that are trying to live their lives, and I see it as our duty to make sure, again, we go back to maximizing the probability of success. Nothing is throwaway in our process or procedure or our thought process. Like that's not an option. And we get, sometimes things don't work out. We deal with humans, and stuff happens, right? But when we start building, especially when we initially go in and we're trying to make that first change in the business, regardless of what key owner stage they're at. But generally, if they're overwhelmed or they're the unsure and they're in that curious category, we are going to potentially upset the apple cart by bringing someone in who has bigger and more experience than most people do in the business. And integrating that person into the business becomes super important. How are we going to do this? Why are we doing this? What are the expectations? And not only having that conversation with the business owner, but having that conversation with the person coming in. Look at there's a lot of people in this business that are great people doing the best job they can. They just don't have the experience you have. So we got to understand that, right? You can't come in with a mindset or a view of what have you been doing. This isn't how you run a business, because they have been running the business that way and they've had success. In fact, they've had so much success that the way they were doing it doesn't work anymore, right? So we need you to help us correct it and get us back on track. And then that's kind of where that relationship between the business owner and this kind of experienced leader starts to if we get it right, not only does the business improve, but the business owner then, and I've asked a lot of my business owners this question, since we put like this really good, well-matched highly experienced leader into your business, has that changed your definition of what a good employee looks like? And they're all like, yes, right? Once they see that kind of pro level talent, right? We call them like, once you put a professional into your business and see it, if you get it right and you see the impact of the culture, of the morale, of the productivity, of the quality, of the safety, whatever they are in charge of, you start saying, oh, if I get more professionals in my business, man, we can do great things and I can reach my goals. It might be to have dinner with my family every Friday. It might be to take a long weekend off every quarter. It could be to go to my summer house for 2 months every summer. If that, whatever their goal is, to make $30 million in revenue, whatever their goals are, we can get them there. They just, once they get over that hump of, oh, a profession, the right professional in their role can be a game changer for me. That's when we have them, and that's when we really start rolling and can do great things.
It's raising the standard, right? And them now having,
Yeah.
they were kind of almost complacent, and now they see, and it's like they're blind, and now they see, and this new standard has arisen in their company, and their company could be completely changes.
Yeah, and I would complacent is, I don't know that they're complacent. I just don't know they understand what's on the other side, right? It's like, I don't, they're not like, oh, this is good enough, just status quo. I think they're just kind of like you said earlier, forest through the trees. They've just been in it for so long. They haven't had a chance to get their head up and take a breath and see what's down the road, right? And we kind of bring that into focus for them a little quicker or more intentionally than they may have done in the past.
I love this conversation. I know you work with the 5 to 25 million is kind of your target, but there's also people that listen to this podcast. They might be a solopreneur. They might make $100,000 a year or less. They're in a place where maybe they're feeling the struggles and it's really they can't grow anymore. They're just one person. What would be a first step for those guys to start looking for talent? Where do they go?
Well, I think that I don't know that they would be looking for like a W-2 employee, right? Or if they are, or they might be looking for a 1099. But obviously, you want to look at the stuff you're not good at, or that's a time suck for you, right? Like personally, my marketing, I have a great marketing guy who takes care of all that because I kind of like doing it, but I'm not really good at it. And then I get bored with it. So it's you go through these fits and starts, right? You need some consistency there. So I've engaged them to do that. But if you're kind of a solopreneur and you're looking to grow, you don't need, so what I would caution against is throwing a job up on a job board. The best people for you for any business aren't hanging out on, fill in job board name here, hoping that you're going to post a job. So the challenge with job boards, and it goes back to any business owner, if you had a process in your business where 90% of your time input was wasted time, what would you do with that process? You would either get rid of it or at least have a really hard look at it and say, what's wrong with this process? But when it comes to hiring or recruiting, that's the norm. You post a job on a job board and 90% of your time is saying, nope, 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 nope. You spend an hour a day frustrated because the great thing about job boards is it makes it easy for people to apply. And the worst thing about job boards is it makes it really easy for people to apply. So you get people with the wrong experience, the wrong zip code, the wrong everything, right? And you spend most of your time weeding out the bad candidates. And that process, we talk about maximizing probabilities with our process, but that process sets you up to hire the best of the worst candidates. By the time you get through that process, and if you don't understand how to hire, the people that are left clamoring for your opportunity are generally the best of the worst. And so we always want to set up to be best of the best. So you talked about a solopreneur, networking, asking the people you know, like, and trust, I need someone to do this. But before you do that, sit down and bang out 6 or 8 bullets of what you need. Then take those 6 or 8 bullets to anyone, and say, does this sound like an actual real job to you? Because what will happen is people will look at all of their needs and they'll say, well, I need 2 things over here and 2 things over here and 2 things over here. And they've taken 3 jobs and try to smush them into one. And I'm just hire someone to do this. And there's just no one who's good at all of those things. So we need to get alignment in the duties. If you're going to hire someone, hire an expert, hire a professional in a specific area. Once you're kind of aligned and you know what you're hiring, for a solopreneur, just start talking to your network. Send an email to everyone you know, like, trust, and respect and say, hey, I'm looking to hire someone to do this in my business. Is there anyone you would recommend? And then when you talk to them, ask them about those 6 bullet points you have. What is your experience in these 6 bullets? And if they kind of meet 80% of what you have on paper, they're probably a good fit. If they're less than 80%, you have to have the courage to say, man, I really like this person. I'd love to work with them. I think they could bring a lot to my business. They just don't bring a lot of the right stuff to my business. And hey, it's been great talking to you. Let's keep in touch. I wouldn't want to kind of do this. The expectation is going to be pretty high. And I don't know that, I'll be able to meet your expectation and you'll be able to meet mine. So let's talk down the road. But you have to have that kind of confidence, and you have to have that ability to know when it's not close enough. If you're going to go through the process, get what you're looking for. Close enough that isn't good enough, right? Maximize the probability of it being the right hire by we call them 80%ers, right? If you have 80% or more of what we're looking for, we'll keep talking. If you don't, we'll let you know right away. It's just, and we'll be honest with you why, because everyone deserves to get that feedback, and it's not a good or a bad thing. It just means their experience doesn't align with the job we're looking to fill, right? It doesn't mean
It's a growth opportunity, I think, for them as well. It might be a couple of areas they need to go back and work on. So
for sure, yeah. If they want to do that or whatever, I mean, it could be just what you do and what we're looking to have done just don't align. And if you love doing that stuff, then don't take this job, because only 50% of your day is going to be doing the stuff you love. The other 50% of your day is going to be doing stuff you don't care about. And that's not fair to you either, right? Go find something where you're going to be able to leverage all your skills and abilities. It's not a personal thing. It's not a winning thing. It's just, we got to find the right fit.
I love this. Corey, you've given so much information today, and I really appreciate it. And I know the listeners on the other end, there are so many nuggets you can take away from this conversation and go back and make it applicable to your business. Speaking of making key hires as a small business owner, which is a very important topic, I'd like to take a moment to share with you what I do here at Red Hawk Coaching. I provide a variety of packages for small business owners looking to level up both in their business and their life. These one-on-one coaching sessions are customized to your specific needs. This is not coaching from a box. If you'd like to learn more about these coaching services and more about me, make sure you visit redhawkcoaching.com. Again, that's redhawkcoaching.com. Now let's wrap up this episode and my conversation with Corey Harlock, and he's going to share with you how you can connect with him about hiring the right talent to your team. Corey, how do people, if they want to learn more about KeyHire, how do they get in touch with you?
Sure. Yeah. My email's simple. It's Corey at symbol KeyHire, one word, KeyHire.solutions. So my domain is solutions. It's not .solutions.com. Nope. Corey at KeyHire.solutions. KeyHire.solutions is the website. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with anyone on LinkedIn. We have our LinkedIn page on there as well. So if you just type in KeyHire, I'm sure you'll get our page. I'm sure you'll see me. But and on our website, we have a free consultation. So if anyone has any questions, they want to walk through stuff, and we're a help first organization. There's no sales, there's no weirdness. Just book some time and we'll talk to you. And if you like what you hear and you think we can help you, we can talk about working together. But if we can give you the tools you need to go out and do it yourself, we're happy to do that too.
Corey, thank you again for your time today and really appreciate you coming on. This is Corey Harlock with KeyHire. So if you're looking to grow your business and you're in that $5 to $25 million range, looking to acquire talent to come onto your team, give Corey a call. I know he can help you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, until next time, onward and upward. Now that you know the importance of making key hires in your small business, know that there's more videos with content just like this here on this channel. So this video is about to end. Make sure you click on that next video. And if you want to binge watch, that's great too. I'm Jeremy Williams, and I'll see you there.